Hello, everybody. Today we have with us on the American Dream Carolina Trujillo, who is the Community Relations Director of Essex Media Group. And you can see her smiling. She likes her job. And the Executive Director of Lavos.
Yes.
And with her is Ted Grant, who is the publisher of the Daily Item. And should I go on with titles? Or is that satisfactory?
That'll cover it.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. So what's going Lavos? That started last year. When did it start?
So it started November. We just celebrated our first anniversary.
Yeah,
it
that's
started,
what I thought, yeah.
November 3rd was our first edition that we published, and it's been a year, and it's been a wonderful learning experience for all of us at Essex Media Group, especially for me, being the leader of this project. So it's a very interesting publication, and I think that it's really getting the traction that it's needed for the community.
What kind of stories do you publish?
So we publish all kinds of stories. We have different sections. Our local section obviously covers the different areas that we have, which are Lynn, Salem, Peabody, and Revere. Those are the cities that we centralize our attention to. Then we have sports, which also we try to keep it local. If there is a story that's of statewide interest, then we absolutely have it in the paper. We also have a very interesting section called Everyday Heroes, and this section really portrays the people who are working every day to make these cities a better place to live in.
That's
so
great.
From all social, the social fabric of our make in the city, so from all spheres of places and walks of life. We've had students, we've had executive directors, we've had all kinds of different people who are contributing to moving the community forward. So we have that included.
Do you do anything on immigration?
We do cover. Sometimes we collaborate with part of different committees, and we keep a close eye on the current situation and how migrants are being targeted and demonized mostly.
Right. And
we've had legal clinics. We had a legal clinic for DACA recipients. We also had a Know Your Rights clinic. And this is as part of a group called the Rapid Response Team, which is a group of more than 20 nonprofit organizations in the city of Lynn.
Right.
And they're all working. We're all working together for the benefit of the community in general.
Okay. And what kind of response do you get to those articles?
So to the articles, we cover the information. It's a very, it's a fine debate because a lot of migrants are very scared to tell their story, to look for services. They don't really know what's going on. They don't really know what the future holds for them. So they're very scared, but they also, on the other hand, they need the information. So we make sure that they receive it in it's a twofold intervention. So one part is what we do with the newspaper, make sure that everything that's happening, they have it through our print publication and through our social media, our Facebook page that the newspaper has. That's one part. And the other part is really working with other committees to make sure that every piece of information is available and resources are available to them if they need so. So it's a kind of like a double approach, per se.
Okay. Do you find that people are reluctant to go to meetings because of their status?
They're very scared.
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't want to draw attention to their particular situation.
Right.
If it's not broken, why fix it? If I haven't received a deportation letter, I don't want to start creating trouble for myself.
Right.
So yes, definitely people are scared. And I think that people are scared mostly because of sometimes the community at large really doesn't understand. I don't think that they have enough information to understand the different immigration issues that people face on a daily basis.
Excuse me,
It's
I have
all right.
asthma.
Yeah,
I'm fine.
that's all right.
Those are issues that
We've all faced at one time or another. Our families, we're all immigrants.
I'm glad you point that out because I feel that sometimes people choose to not remember that part of the information. And I think that a lot of people advocate for legal status changes, and they don't understand that it's not about the immigrant's choice to not change their status. If they had an opportunity to do so, which like President Reagan had an amnesty,
Right.
and a lot of people became
Made a
legalized
lot of sense.
because they had
Made a
that.
lot of economic
And,
sense.
and that was one of the promises that I feel that with President Obama, that was one of his platforms.
Yeah.
Really look for immigrational status change. Really try to create a path for citizenship. And a lot of people haven't had that opportunity.
Right.
And they, you know, we all come here as immigrants looking for opportunity. That's all.
We all have stories, and we hear stories, and I ran into a guy yesterday, and he was from Guatemala, and somebody introduced us, and he started talking. He said, I just love this country. He said, I came here 15 years ago. I'm a United States citizen now, and it's just wonderful what happens
Yeah.
here for me. And I think there'd be a lot more stories like that if we could get more people to become citizens.
Yep.
Uh,
I think that if the opportunity was provided to people, I wouldn't doubt that people would take the opportunity.
Oh,
I
same
know that,
here, yeah.
you know, I'm Colombian immigrant, and I came here 20 years ago, and I became a citizen. I was able to pursue 2 master's degree here and develop a professional career here. And I think that a lot of people would love that opportunity as well. It's interesting that I was talking to a friend of mine, and we were talking about the undocumented community and how they have to go and break the law and get fake social security numbers to go and get a job. It's not to access any type of benefit. It's to actually go and work, produce money, pay taxes, not claim anything back because they know this number is not valid. And a lot of people don't understand that. I don't think a lot of people know. They know at a bigger spectrum what's going on. They don't really know the reality, or at a deeper level what really happens to immigrants when we come here.
Yeah, there are a lot of false stories put out
Absolutely.
about immigrants. And,
Well, that we
people-
take all the resources. Well, we can't
Yeah.
access resources because
Yeah.
we can't apply for them. So,
Right.
and if we do access resources from a child who is a citizen of this country, so technically you're giving to your own, so it's not the immigrant who's taking
Right.
it. It's a citizen who's taking
Those
it.
stories are the real nightmares. If a person came over here when she was 11 years old and then had a child who was born in the United States. So the child's a citizen and the mother is not.
Yep,
And then they try to break the family up. And,
yep. Absolutely. I think that at some point there was some prospective legislation to invalidate the national citizenship by birthright, by being born in this country if you come from an undocumented
That's
parent.
unbelievable.
Yeah,
Because
so-
that started right at the beginning of our country. If you're born here, you're a citizen.
Yep. Well, there was some
I know.
attempt to destroy that legislation.
Well,
Unfortunately,
this
it didn't
is not
move
a
forward.
partisan show, so I won't be partisan. But but yesterday was
This ought to be rich, that you're not going to be partisan, but go ahead, give it a go.
the election was yesterday, and it seems like across the country, Democrats did very well.
Yes.
Particularly in Virginia, where the Republican candidate got beat pretty soundly. Everybody thought he was going to win because he was using all
The
these
same strategy
ads
that-
to demonize immigrants and others.
Well, people were very confident that he was going to win because of the election, the presidential election. So
Right.
it was really the exact same strategy of really demonizing immigrant communities, of putting
Right.
down other minorities, really targeting by law and by breaking of the law, and pointing out fingers on different particular communities that would break the law more than others. So I was very, very pleasantly surprised, let's just say that.
Same here. And New Jersey was not a surprise, but another Democrat won here.
Yep.
And, so I'm still trying to find out what happened in Oregon, because there's a chance for the Democrats to take over the state there, the state legislature, and then that will be down the left coast. Washington. Getting a signal. Washington, Oregon, and California. So what about Lynn? What do you think is going on with Lynn? With the election results yesterday?
I think that even though the Latino candidate, which was Jamie Figueroa, didn't make it to the city council, I think that just the mere fact that we had a Latino running is a huge positive in the direction of inclusiveness. I think that having participation for all the groups that are living in Lynn is critical in order to move a community together. We all move at the same time. We all look for improvement at the same time. And I think that having different voices represent the community as a whole is critical in the overall outcome. So he didn't win, but my understanding is that he is going to continue to pursue the goal of becoming counselor. So
that's what I understand.
So he's going to continue to advocate for himself and campaign and just get to know the city a little more and have a second shot. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what his strategy is.
He
going to be.
ran a great campaign. He's the personification of the American dream. You know, he grew up in Lynn. He had hard circumstances at first.
Yep.
Then he went. I think he went to a junior college. Then he went to Suffolk University. And,
Yep. So he came here. His family is Puerto Rican, so they came here to live in this Villa Victoria, the South End area. His mom was found someplace there, and then they became homeless. They went to live with their grandma, and then they decided to come to Lynn because it was the only place where they could afford housing. So they came to Lynn. Years later, they bought a house. They became Lynn residents, official Lynn residents, and then he was educated and he lived through his teenage years here in Lynn. Of course, he was a knucklehead at times, and he would act really poorly.
Weren't we all?
Exactly, made poor choices, but it is remarkable, the turnaround story where he
it's
decides,
a great story.
Exactly, where he becomes a father and he says, you know what, I really need to make sure that I become a role model for my children. And then he goes to Suffolk University. Now he's pursuing a master's degree. So yeah, the kid's a real deal. I admire Jamie for
great energy. You can see that in a campaign. Some people just lob it along, you know, but he was full of energy and ideas, and I expect that we'll see him on the city council someday.
I sure hope so.
Yeah.
He has really good ideas, and I think that they're very relevant because he's lived through the whole living in Lynn, not having a lot of access to opportunity, going through college, having difficult choices in life. I think that that brings a positive mix to making policies and laws.
Did Lavos endorse anybody in the election?
We didn't. We don't endorse. We make sure that we cover everybody equally. Of course, we were excited and pumped because Jaime is Latino, and you know, we supported everybody equally. We covered everybody, the debates, everything that needed to be informed. Because at the end of the day, what we're looking for is really to make sure that we provide good quality information for our community. A community that is well informed is more prone to act, is more prone to be involved, is more prone to form an opinion. Our job is to make sure that they have the most relevant information, that it's reliable, that it's current, that it's that they can use to form an opinion, not to, you know, to just not be present in reality.
That sounds really good to a reader or an interested citizen. I advertise in your paper, but
yes, you do. And
but I can't read a word.
It doesn't. I assure you.
But that sounds really good. What you just said.
Yeah, that is the whole. When we created, so I was fortunate enough to come in and really be in a very proactive organization like Essex Media Group, which saw the vision and saw the population changing and saw the need for something, some kind of. They didn't know what they wanted, but they wanted something in order to be inclusive of the community that was part of the fabric of Lynn. I was hired, and I went out and really talked to everybody and said, you know, do you want a paper? What would be good for you? And the community itself decided that it would be good to have a paper. So we created that paper. with community involvement and really feedback from them. And even the name of the paper was from just questioning the community and asking and them providing names and choosing what they wanted. The sections in the paper are community driven, the name of the paper is community driven, and this is an ongoing project, so this is not set in stone. This might morph into something different.
Do you get good comments from the
I
readers?
have, yes,
Yeah.
I have, and I've been able to. It's really funny because now I'm Carolina Trujillo, but people know me as, oh, la señora de la voz, the lady of la voz. Oh yeah, you're la voz. So you
That's
become you become your product, which is interesting to me, but
It is.
That's fine.
Yeah. What about you? Are you the
Nobody
item?
calls me Mr. LaVos now. The guy from
Well, he
LaVos,
wanted
no.
to name the paper the Idemo, which I opposely.
Idemo?
Yeah, the
El
item.
Idemo.
El Idemo, the item.
Hey, look, I took Latin and French. What do I know about Spanish? Jimmy, it was a dream, maybe it was a goal, it was certainly a hope. Carolina turned it into a reality.
Yeah.
This was an idea that came from conversations you and I have had for years. It came from conversations that the former CEO of Eastern Bank, Rich Holbrook, and Mike Shanahan, who was the chairman of Essex Media and a trustee at Eastern, the three of us would have the conversation about it a lot, that not only was the Hispanic community underserved, it was not at all served. And there was an attempt at a Spanish publication, I'm guessing about 20 years ago, 15 or 20 years ago.
I vaguely remember that.
That was 20 years ago.
Yeah, and it, for whatever reason, it didn't work. But it was time to revisit it and time to go about it in a different way. And Carolina described exactly how we envisioned the thing working, and that was her just asking people, what do you want?
Yeah.
Instead of, what do I know? You know, it's, we had to go into
Instead
the
of
community.
imposing your views on what
Right.
you think people want.
Right. It would be absurd. The one word I know in it is gratis. I mean, it would be absurd for a gray-haired white guy to try to come up with a plan for this. And we lucked out. We had owned the item for about a year, and several times along the way, I came very close to starting it, and every time we came close, I learned something new that I didn't know, and it was obvious we either do this right or it's going to die. And Carolina landed. It was just good luck. A friend's son had a friend who was a headhunter. And that's how Carolina came to Essex
That's how you
Media.
found Carolina.
Yeah, Carolina found us. And
Okay, good.
we let her just do the thing. And at the same time, we were trying to turn around the item. We were trying to change the image of the item. And everything that Carolina said about about LaVos, it's exactly what we were trying to do with the item. We were trying to listen to what people want. And I love it. As recently as this morning, before we came over here to tape, I got 2 calls. And one was from a guy who he calls every once in a while, and we continue to mess up his delivery, and he continues to stick with us. But I love the fact that the guy called and said, look, could you just get the newspaper to me? Could you stop torturing me? And he's just a good guy. And then my favorite might be a lady whose name I don't even know. She never identifies herself other than to say, I'm the old lady from, I think it's Merrill Street. And she's just the sweetest person. And she'll make comments and make suggestions and criticize when it's necessary. And I've been saying for the 3 years we've owned it, the criticisms are way more important to me than the praise, because we're never going to get it right if people don't call us and tell us what they hate. Mm-hmm. And that's the way it's supposed to work. And I marvel at the success of LaVos. It has become a great success story for Essex Media, because we didn't know if we could pull it off, and It took a year. You know,
It's-
this was not something that was an instant success. It took a year.
It's a great publication for the community.
I believe so.
Yeah, because people can go right to it, they can read it in their own language, and
Yes.
See, I see it as a
feel-
great success for two communities, the Latino community and then the overall Lynn community. And that was the tricky part.
I wasn't distinguishing between
Yeah,
communities.
and that's what I like about it. It's a double success.
Yeah. But I think immigrants are paranoid, rightly so.
Rightly so.
Yeah. And this is like protection and truth.
Well, at least they get information that is valuable.
And they can
to-
rely on it.
That they can rely.
If it's in the item, maybe they
if-
don't rely on it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's,
Well,
that's
that's
the
the
reality.
reality of it.
Yeah, yeah.
The tradition of the item is what kept my interest. I mean, we own an institution, but with any 140-year-old institution, it came with some baggage.
Right, and Lavos did not.
None.
That's
Right.
a big deal.
And I think that as part of my role in Essex Media Group, I'm also the Community Relations Director, so I've also been able to really go out to the community and really meet the people in the community. So the amount of access that they have to me, the work I do, it's really important as well, because they stop by the office, they say, hey, or they call me on my cell phone, they text me. Sometimes I share with Ted, you know, the text messages that I get of, did you see this? Did you see that? Like, it's really,
That's cool.
it's really fascinating. I
Yeah,
just got a text
that's
message.
sharing in the
Are you
news,
aware
yeah.
that there's a patrol here? And I'm like, I wasn't, but thank you for letting me know. So I think that that also makes a difference, that it's not just a publication that you don't have a face and a name to, you know.
I think one way to overcome this problem that we all have with prejudice in immigrants is to publish the successes of people. Just lay it out there. You know, Maria Carrasco is a friend of mine, and she runs this. In fact, you're one of the judges, and my
Yes.
wife is one of the judges.
Yes, I'm one of
She
the.
runs this scholarship program for
Amazing
kids.
program.
They raise a lot of money, and it goes to kids who graduate from Lynn schools. And each year, the kids, they have an event at St. Jean's.
Yes.
And they talk about their lives, and it's amazing. These kids have such pride in their mothers, you know, because some of them, a lot of them were born here, but some of them weren't.
Yep.
But they talk about their family history, and they talk about their success, not bragging, but just explaining what they're going to do, which college they're going to go to. And they're great. I had a couple of them. Well, were you on that show with
Yeah,
a couple?
I was.
Yeah, sorry.
I was on that show. Yes, I was, and I was
You
very
made
impressed.
a huge impression, evidently.
Apparently.
Well, the
Well,
kids-
you know, they were so amazing. We had
Right.
4 of them, and they
Right.
were so. And these were the winners from last year. This
Right.
year's winners were equally impressive. So I
Right.
was part of the selection committee. And I had to read all the essays of the applicants, and you know, we have a score system. It's very fair and it's
Yeah,
very
yeah.
balanced. And then we sit, all of us, and really debate. You know, these are my favorites, and we show our scores individually. And it's a complex process, but it's really fun because it gives you a lot of hope. And I
Right.
think that that's something that our community needs
Any
right now.
family would be proud of that. you know.
Absolutely.
I mean, if you had an Irish family down in Hibernians talking about the same thing, you'd be really proud, you know.
And
So
you know what?
I hope we
the
can-
migration wave, this is the Latino time of the migration wave, but this has
Right.
not been the only wave that has happened. So the Irish, the British, the
Oh,
Irish,
yeah.
the French, the Jews, the Italians, everybody went through this process without having a community being demonized or with a community being demonized, but with the government supporting their path to citizenship.
Right.
This is the only time that a community is being demonized and it's being blocked from moving forward in the path of citizenship. So that makes this community very interesting, I believe, and very
agree.
resilient, if anything.
Ted and I both went to St. Mary's of Lynn, and I recall being in the 5th grade, I had a nun, Sister Bernadette Marie, and she was passionate about history. And I remember learning about the Statue of Liberty and what it meant.
And what it meant, yeah.
How proud that made all of us. And I still get emotional over it. And it's so different now when people say, oh, let them stay home. You know, they're using up all our resources.
Send them back.
It's incredible.
Yes.
So I'm on a crusade to try to do something about it.
And I appreciate and I thank you for that.
Yeah. Ted, we never talked about the item. And the show's
Well,
almost over.
As I'm listening to the two of you talk, one of the things that one way the item benefited from LaVos, either in an indirect or a very direct way, and this is something that you helped create. The highlight of the 3 years of Essex Media Group owning the item happened a few weeks ago when we won a very significant award from the New England Newspaper and Press Association for a series entitled Am I a Bigot?
Right.
And
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you,
That was
but-
great work by the item and by you.
thank you, but congratulations to you too, because you were part of it. It was the conversations that you and I had had for so long, and it was pitch perfect. We had, I think it was 11 writers, and each, you being one, each person expressed how they were a victim of bigotry along the way, either a victim of bigotry or as a bigot. And it was so rewarding for me. I went with Carolina, Cheryl Charles, one of our copy editors, Thor Jurgensen, our news editor, and Steve Krause, our sports editor, to pick up the award. And the 4 of them went up to get the award. And I sat back and I watched. And I can't tell you the pride of watching those 4 go up and get that award.
Of course.
Because that day they were in the big leagues. We were there with the Hartford Courant, Worcester Paper, Globe, Providence. They were picking up awards, and there's the Daily Item picking up an award. And it meant more than just the award, because what we did was we connected with a community. And I guess my favorite part, maybe it wasn't the award ceremony itself, it might be an email I got from somebody. I wrote an introduction to the series, and in the introduction I explained that it's just part of, in keeping with the mission of Essex Media Group, which is to educate our readers, inform, entertain.
I would call it.
And make our readers think. And I got an email, I don't know, 2 or 3 columns into it, and the writer was just infuriated, and in the email he said, "How dare you make me think?" And I said, okay.
All right, we're going to have to end it on that note, but congratulations and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you for
And
having
thank you
us.
for coming on the show, and let's do this again sometime.
Thanks for having us, Jim.
Yeah, okay. Pleasure. That's it.